9 picks make up the 2019 Steelers draft class, 5 on defense, 4 on offense. And after it was all said and done, Mike Tomlin was asked if he liked the group. He said, yeah, but we always feel that way. But there's a different feel with these players, and it started on day one. For just the third time since Kevin Colbert took over as GM in 2000, the Steelers traded up in the first round, and this time got Devin Bush. The team was so confident in this pick, they already released last year's inside linebacker John Bostic. Again, just feels different.
As I said the other day, if he helps us win a Super Bowl, then it was a good pick. Does he have the capabilities? We believe so.
Yeah, much of the offseason before the draft was dominated by Antonio Brown. We won't ever know the full story of what went so wrong between he and the Steelers, but maybe, just maybe, some good will come of it. With the picks they got from Oakland, the third rounder was used on, coincidentally, a MAC wide receiver, Deontay Johnson, who even more ironically is compared to AB because of his quickness. The fifth round pick came in the form of a quarterback turned tight end, Zach Gentry from Michigan. On paper, the Raiders won that trade for now. James Conner is your first string running back going into next season, but Coach Tomlin was unusually complimentary of their fourth round grab, Benny Snell from Kentucky. Only he and Herschel Walker have ever run for more than 1,000 yards and at least 13 touchdowns in his first 3 seasons in the SEC.
A guy that really kind of was a central figure in a culture change in terms of what went on at Kentucky, competing and winning in that SEC and what he was able to do down there. We had a great deal of respect, not only for his talents, but his body of work.
Compliments like that from Tomlin are like the NHL playoffs without the Penguins. I really miss hockey. Again, things with the Steelers just different with this draft, and it started on day one. Devin Bush in his custom-made suit that made him look like a Power Ranger of sorts. He said he wanted some flavor. Well, he got it, and he also got a piece that could double as a baby Bjorn. Many say cornerback Justin Lane is a steal at 83. Time will tell on that, but he knows AFC North football. The Cleveland native was quick to get rid of his Browns logoed socks after he got the call from the Steelers saying he's headed to Pittsburgh. But then there's Sutton Smith. He could provide depth behind T.J. Watt, but apparently he's quite the romantic. He proposed to his girlfriend after helping Northern Illinois win the MAC championship, and she said yes. It's always nice to have a little hometown love in your roster. Aliquippa native Drayvon Askew Henry was among 10 rookie free agents signed after the conclusion of the draft. And now we're supposed to say how good or bad the Steelers did in the draft, but nobody really knows right now. But it does feel different, and it's because of what they did on day one. I'm Chase Williams, Channel 11 Sports. The Penguins have now lost 3 straight at home in the playoffs for the first time since 2011, and that is not the talk in the locker room right now. Instead, it's another Tom Wilson headshot, Zach Aston Reese on the receiving end of this one. And I can tell you this, I just got out of the locker room, and the Penguins have had enough.
You know, at some point, we would hope that you know, the league might do something.
I get the physical game. I get the physical play. I've been on the wrong side of it. And, you know, at the end of the day, I respect what kind of game he plays. But it's just you don't laugh at somebody getting hurt, you know.
Yeah, the frustration in the Penguins locker room just palpable this evening. To make it even worse, Tom Wilson on that bench right over there after the hit, looking at himself on the Jumbotron, laughing after the replay. Zach Aston Reese, we do not know if when that surgery will be set, and we do not know if the NHL player safety will be looking into this. Of course, we'll pass that along as soon as we get any information. It was evident the Steelers had their struggles on the field this season, but for the DeLimpo family and 11-year-old Levi, his struggle is with life and just how fragile it can be.
Pure chaos almost. Like at the time, it's every parent's worst nightmare.
At 10 years old, Levi DeLimpo was in constant pain. Test after test, doctor after doctor. Then came the news. Ewing sarcoma, a rare form of bone cancer.
Finally, it did come back, and then I'll never forget, it was late at night when the doctors came in and told me.
It was tough to hear that I had cancer, but then my doctor came in and said that it's no big deal and it's just another step we're going to have to take.
After the initial shock of the diagnosis, Levi chose to fight. 47 rounds of chemo, a week of radiation. He underwent surgery to replace his hip and his femur, but fight Levi did, with the motivation of his favorite Steelers player, James Conner. How has he served as an inspiration for you?
Because he had cancer and he defeated it, and so since I had cancer, I defeated it too.
Levi's basketball number was number 30, and so we talked about that in the very beginning and just said, you know, if he can do that and your dream is to play for the Steelers, like, you can do it too.
Just 2 days after completing his last round of chemo, there was a brief encounter back in October. But today, Levi and Connor finally met at Heinz Field.
Mom.
What's up, what?
Hey.
Good to see you again. How you doing? You good?
Good, yeah.
Good, you look great, brother.
While this meeting put a smile on his face and provided a brief respite, the harsh reality is Levi's cancer remains, and so too does a future with few guarantees. What did you know about cancer at that point?
That it can kill people.
Is that scary to think about?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Levi is done with chemo, but the cancer remains stage 4. This family simply refuses to give up hope, and his mom, Tammy, told me they believe in miracles. And in the meantime, they're enjoying the little things and taking everything one day at a time. Live in studio, Chase Williams, Channel 11 Sports. We've got a big game here at Franklin Regional tonight between two undefeated teams, but our feature this week takes us to Clairton High School, where a young man was fighting for his life just a few short months ago. He was at the right place at the wrong time and ended up being shot in the chest, but even something that traumatic won't slow him down.
I was just trying to get the bleeding to stop.
Hard to notice now, but Leonard Robinson III was shot in the chest just a few months ago. Just an innocent bystander working his summer job as a lifeguard at the Clairton pool.
All I know is there was a big, loud sound, and about 10 seconds after the sound, I realized I was shot. I saw the blood coming out of my chest.
Upon learning surgery was needed, but that he should recover, Leonard's focus was shifted to football, despite being just hours removed from this horrific incident.
That was his mindset, that he was going to be fine, and he couldn't wait to get back with the team and, you know, not to worry about it.
With the bullet still lodged in his body to this day, Leonard remained true to his word.
Move your feet, move your feet.
Hasn't missed a game and is a key piece to the Bears' 5-0 start.
I'm just glad that I can play with my team and just play another game every Friday. I'm not the type of person to think in the past. I just want to keep on moving forward and better myself and be productive.
I think physically and mentally, it's really helped him. Here we go. To continue to be a part of what we're doing, you know, to take his mind off of actually what happened and the incident and, you know, just moving on with life.
The senior admittedly says he's lucky. Lucky he came out with his life intact and his dreams of pursuing football at the next level still within reach.
It taught me that you can't waste any time of the day, even if it's just something little. You gotta work hard every day to get what you want in life.
Perspective from an 18-year-old is quite refreshing, and we wish Leonard and Clairton all the best as they go after that state title. And more importantly, Leonard moving on to the collegiate level where he can pursue his education as well as football. Reporting live tonight, Chase Williams, Channel 11 News. There's a reason why the NHL wanted these two teams in this year's Stadium Series game. Of course, it's the rivalry. In fact, it's the 288th career meeting between the Penguins and the Flyers. But look no further than the star power at the top of the Penguins roster. They're easily two of the very best the NHL has ever seen.
Crosby scores!
On their own, terrors. But Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin together, a nightmare.
Malkin spinning! He scores! What a goal!
Heavily scouted and facing the opposition's toughest defensive schemes nightly, Sid and Gino's biggest competitions typically come in practice against each other.
We just feed off each other. I think, you know, when you see him going out there, you want to follow it up. You want to make sure that, you know, you're doing your part. So I think it's just, you know, more of a competition that way to push each other and make sure that we're doing our part to help the team.
Practicing against him, you know, is like always challenge, and like it's like great challenge for me. Like, you know, like he's like score game, I'm trying to score, you know, like he's like we try to be better like every day.
Drafted in consecutive years starting in 2004 from opposite sides of the world, these two have meshed into a dynamic duo that have their name etched into just about every trophy hockey has to offer.
Sidney Crosby, you are the playoffs MVP.
But now in their 30s, some might wonder what life would be like if one were to ever leave Pittsburgh. It's crossed Malkin's mind, however, it's the friendship with the captain that he just can't leave behind.
I come to his house, he's come to my house. Now, like, we're really good friends, and we understand, like, if, like, we, like, play good, like, our team, like, good.
Crosby's 200-foot game is something like few have brought before him. But even he knows there's nobody like a motivated Evgeny Malkin.
Just the way he can dominate a game. I mean, it's pretty rare.
Malkin winds, shoots and score! He's got another one!
Evgeny Malkin and Sidney Crosby are seriously good, but they're seriously grateful that with each other, they can rarely be matched.
Every player look to us, you know, if we create leadership on ice, off ice, like, so like everyone follow us.
Now, both of these guys love playing the Flyers, especially Sidney Crosby. He's on a current 6-game point streak against Philadelphia, and he scored his 40th goal against the Flyers earlier this season. That is more than anyone that he scored against any